You ever think about all the incredible art that's just gone, lost to time? We're talking books, paintings, music that have completely vanished. Well, for centuries, there was this one masterpiece, a totally groundbreaking play from the 16th century that everyone believed was one of those lost causes. It was basically a ghost story for scholars. Yeah, by the late 1800s, pretty much everyone had given up. As one scholar put it, the very existence of Nicholas Grimald's play, Christus Redivivus, which means Christ resurrected, wasn't just questioned, it was flat out denied. People thought it was just a rumor, a piece of fiction from the English Renaissance that left zero trace. But here is the thing, the big twist. It wasn't lost at all. It was just, well, misplaced. Today, we know of 3 copies that survived. So, how on earth did this play go from being a myth to a rediscovered treasure? And really, what makes it so special? All right, let's get into it. Okay, so first up, the rediscovery. And this is a true blue historical detective story that stretches across centuries, showing us how a play from the 1540s was pulled right back from the edge of oblivion. So Grimald gets his play published way back in 1543, and then poof, it basically drops off the map for over 350 years. Then, in this totally wild turn of events in 1895, J.M. Hart, the same guy who doubted it even existed, finds a copy. And soon after that, 2 more pop up in Germany. The lost play hadn't been burned or destroyed, it was just sitting quietly on library shelves the whole time, waiting for someone to finally open it. So great, the play is found. But what is it exactly? Now, this is where the story gets really juicy, because Grimald himself gave it a name that was incredibly bold, almost unheard of for his time. He called it a commedia tragica, a tragic comedy. Now, you gotta understand, in the 16th century, that was a pretty radical move. Sacred plays about the Bible were supposed to be serious, solemn. Calling a play about the resurrection of Christ a comedy in any way, shape, or form was audacious. He was smashing genres together to create something totally new, a story that could hold both crushing grief and absolute joy. And the play's whole structure is built to take you on this emotional ride. It kicks off with pure tragedy in Act 1. You've got Mary Magdalene just weeping at the tomb. But by the time you get to the end, the mood has completely flipped to one of celebration and victory. It's like Grimaldi designed it to walk the audience from the depths of despair all the way to salvation. And if you want to see this wild blend of tones in action, all you have to do is look at the cast of characters. I mean, Grimald's stage is packed with the holy, the hilarious, and the downright demonic. It is not who you'd expect. So on one side, sure, you have your sacred figures. Christ, Mary Magdalene, the apostles, all the people you'd expect to see. But then, look at this other column. You've got 4 Roman soldiers who are basically there for comic relief. And then he throws in Alecto, a fury from Greek mythology, and an evil spirit named Cacodemon. Seriously, Grimaldi threw everything but the kitchen sink into this thing. Scripture, Roman comedy, even a little pagan mythology. And these soldiers are total classics from Roman comedy. The Miles Gloriosus, or the braggart soldier. They just strut around, talking a big game they can't possibly back up. This quote from Dramo is a perfect example. I mean, can you imagine? Squeezing this kind of broad slapstick humor right into the middle of the Easter story was such a gutsy, creative move. It made the whole thing feel more human. So, who was the brain behind this absolutely audacious play? Let's talk about the author himself, Nicholas Grimald. Because, lucky for us, he left behind a dedication in the play, so we can hear directly from him about why he did what he did. And here's the real kicker. This wasn't the masterpiece of some seasoned, old playwright. Grimald wrote this incredibly complex, genre-bending play when he was only about 20 years old. He was just a kid, still a student, this young genius, tackling these enormous ideas. And boy, did he know it. In his letter, he basically confesses how insecure he was. He was worried that rushing to publish this youthful invention would make him look cocky and immature in front of all the learned and prudent men. You can just feel the anxiety of a young artist putting his heart and soul out there for the whole world to judge. But you know what? He had nothing to worry about. The play wasn't just published, it was performed. According to Grimald, his friends and professors at Oxford got so hyped about the script that they insisted on putting on a full production. He says it was for a crown of most learned men. This thing was a campus sensation.
Grimald also used that dedication to defend his subject choice. He basically argued that telling the story of Christ was way more important than writing the silly love poems and comedies that were popular back then. For him, theater wasn't just entertainment. It was a tool, a powerful way to explore the biggest questions about life, faith, and salvation.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. Why should we care about a Latin play written by a college student nearly 500 years ago? What does Christus Redivivus really mean for us today? Well, this play is so much more than just a historical curiosity. It's a landmark. It's one of the very first tragic comedies in English literature, a bold mashup of the sacred and the secular. It gives us this incredibly rare peek into student life, theology, and theater during the Renaissance. But maybe most importantly, its whole story of being lost and then found is this powerful reminder of just how fragile our connection to the past really is. And that leaves us with one last kind of tantalizing thought. The story of Christus Redivivus proves that sometimes the greatest treasures aren't buried deep underground, they're just hiding in plain sight. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else is out there just sitting on a dusty shelf waiting for the right person to come along and open the cover?